Chapter 51. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Show a calm attitude. But Leo, Ace, Membius, and Guy's members all immediately fell into a state of stiff expression. Instructor Ace, why are you here? Huh? Instructor Leo, Instructor Ace, what are you doing in the fields? Huh? Where's Membius? I've obviously lost most of my strength, so you won't be kicked to death by me, right? Huh? Humans, why are you hiding so far away? Sarron looked around suspiciously. He has obviously lost most of his strength. How could this happen? P.S. Dear readers, please give me some data. Thank you very much. It will be on the shelves today. Please give me a little support. I'm so touched, thank you. Chapter 54. Leo, Ace, Sarron, you finally showed your chicken feet. The four kings of darkness are moving. Leo and Ace looked at each other, feeling unhappy. Okay, you are awesome, able to play the space fantasy beast fist to perfection, just kick out a dragon. Just kick your two seniors so hard that they can't even get off the stage. Saw Sarron coming over, swish. As soon as the thought came to mind, the two of them transformed directly back to their human form, for fear of being discovered by the other party. The legs that were hit by the aftermath couldn't retreat for a long time and were constantly trembling. Instructor. Sarron was confused and simply changed back to his human form. However, I have to admit it, this cosmic beast fist is really useful. It is said to be boxing, but it is actually a set of all-round fighting skills, including boxing, kicks, elbows, knees, grappling, throwing. All kinds of fighting methods are available in all aspects. However, what is more important is the inheritance of totem tattoos. Only by being inherited and recognized by the laws of the universe can you transform into a tattoo of an alien beast. If not, there will be no method but no spirit. It's just an empty set, and it can't bring out the essence of the most powerful boxing technique in the universe, the cosmic fantasy beast fist. In other words, if you don't understand and inherit the totem tattoo, you won't even have the same fighting skills as the Kingdom of Light. Fortunately, what Sarron received was the system reward version of the cosmic beast fist, which came with its own tattoo inheritance. For the first time, a black dragon tattoo that had never appeared before and matched its own energy attributes was directly activated. Because he has received a complete inheritance, Sarron also knows several other kinds of fantasy beast fists, such as the flame red dragon fist, electric white tiger fist, flying Jingha fist, phantom water snake fist, high-speed freeze leopard fist, but no black dragon tattoo is awesome. With the added talent of the human martial saint, one can even make great use of the cosmic fantasy beast fist. Use it as you like, with all kinds of moves at your fingertips, you can implement them at will. Future. Are you okay? Seeing Membius lying on the ground, Ryo Ehara yelled anxiously. The rest of the guy's team members were similar, and they were all anxiously gathered around. However, there was nothing they could do. After entering Kuroshio Island, they were attacked by the Rephulites. Not only did the fighter plane crash, but the communication equipment was also destroyed, making it impossible to communicate with the outside world. It can be said that on Kuroshio Island, they are cut off from the outside world. At this time, Kazama Jinna's eyes lit up and she came up with an idea: go find Sarron. Wasn't he the one who cured Mirai's previous injuries? That the other people suddenly realized. Indeed, what's the use of worrying here by yourself? You might as well ask Ultraman for help. After all, the Ultramans are all brothers and will never sit idly by. Jingu Majimii nodded heavily, and while packing her things, she said happily, okay, then it's up to me. No, I'll just go. Before Kozomi could finish speaking, Jinna had already trotted out. The movement was so fast, as if a cheetah was chasing behind him. Ehara, Ryu and others were left looking at Mujime with playful eyes. It's okay. Mujime didn't say much, stood up and showed a faint smile. It is this plain appearance that makes the rest of the guy's team feel terrified. But before Jinai could get far, three figures came from a distance. Sarron, Leo, and Ace all appeared in human form. On the surface, it looks very harmonious, but several people have different ideas in their hearts, causing undercurrents. Salon. Jinna was extremely nervous, hesitating and hesitating, completely changing her elegant look from the past, but the words are not finished yet. The three of Sarron had already walked straight past, heading in the direction of Membius. After all, this younger brother is in a state of half-death in Membius. Nissan. Leo and Ace shook their heads, just about to use the energy of light to heal Membius. He stretched out his hand halfway and then retracted it suddenly, because Sarron flicked his finger. A small ball of black flame shot out, instantly helping Membius recover. Brother Sarron. Brother Ace. Brother Leo. With a weak cry, Membius scratched his head and stood up. Embarrassing, just one word. I just felt like my brain was dizzy at the time, and I couldn't even remember why I dared to jump up and kick. Suddenly, I remembered that Leo and Ace were joining behind me. Out of curiosity, Membius asked aloud, "Hey, who won in the end just now?" Dead silence. Silence. No one answered. Sarron doesn't care, after all. The two people in front of him are his mentors. Ace and Leo were expressionless, and their hearts were filled with excitement. Well, you Membius, don't mention which pot to boil. Originally, the two wanted to pretend not to know. I just erased the embarrassing moment, but I didn't expect that this bad guy would bring it up again. The dignified Ultra brothers from the Kingdom of Light were playing kicks in the air, but they couldn't even kick a young warrior. Although he was in a backhand position, he exerted force in a hurry and was not prepared. But if you tell them, how can they, the old-timers, be allowed to mess around in the universe? The guy's team members on the side also seemed to notice a strange atmosphere. After all, they witnessed the results with their own eyes. Hara Ryu coughed twice, trying to stop Membius from talking. Membius had already spoken. Brother Ace, why don't you speak? Brother Leo, why don't you say anything? Moment, Leo and Ace, who had stiff faces, suddenly smiled, their smiles oozing. Look at each other. Snap. Snap. Two ultra slaps fell and hit Membius on the face, which immediately turned red. What followed was a continuous sound of scolding. Membius, how dare you? Not only can't he defeat the red FLYT star, he can't even catch Sarron's flying kick. What's going on with your expression? What's going on with your tears? Can you defeat the enemy with tears? Can you protect the earth? Wipe your tears and prove yourself. If you encounter the Rephulites again and you still can't defeat them, go back to the Kingdom of Light immediately. Continuous scoldings and curses sounded. He had just been slapped twice by Ultra, and his face was still burning. Now, Membius is even more miserable and can't express his pain. Damn it, what are cowardly tears? This was obviously caused by two of you. Lao Deng, one slap in the face. Taking a slow breath, Leo and Ace looked at each other. I think now is the best time to strike while the iron is hot and strike against Sarron. After all, facing two angry seniors, would anyone have the heart and courage to interrupt? Chapter 52. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Obviously, this is impossible. However, the two of them were just talking when they saw Sarron walking forward. Swish. A white training robe was thrown out and thrown into the hands of Membius. Snort. Instructor Leo and Instructor Ace are both easy to talk to. But I, Sarron, am not. Now go train hard and wash away your weak tears with blood and sweat. 2 days. Just 2 days. If the Reverend Star doesn't come, I will catch him too. Membius, do you hear that? Sarron's face was cold, and he shouted loudly, and the cold aura roared and dispersed. The scolding here was serious, but Leo and Ace were confused. This, I wanted to call you a brat, but why did you end up calling someone else a brat? What kind of plane are you doing? The startled Membius clutched his training robe, and quickly replied, yes. Then he ran away immediately for fear of being scolded and beaten again. The guy's members immediately followed Membius and left. Mujime put on a standard smile and said to Jinna, the strong melon is not sweet. Immediately follow the pace of his teammates. Jinna was so angry that she gritted her teeth. After catching up, she snorted, what do you know? Just quench your thirst. After Membius and others left, Sarron, Leo, and Ace were left behind. Sarron showed a faint smile. Don't worry, Instructor Leo, Instructor Ace, we will definitely be able to teach Membius well. Hear this, Leo and Ace couldn't hold it in any longer, the eyelids jumped crazily, the corners of the mouth twitched crazily, and the face began to twitch. Sarron, what the hell, who the hell wants to teach Mebius with you? You can't take care of yourself, so you teach others. And I also want to compare myself to us two old-timers. Okay, you. Wild ambition. What a wolfish ambition. You kid can't hide it anymore. It turns out you want to replace us old-timers. Leo and Ace communicated with Ultra thoughts and came to this shocking result. However, the two of them breathed a sigh of relief, finally understood Sarron's true thoughts. At this time news about Kuroshio Island spread. It attracted the attention of all parties, not only the guy's headquarters, but also the four Dark Kings outside the universe were alarmed by this. P.S. I beg readers for your support, it will be on the shelves later, thank you, thank you. Finally, please give me some data, thank you. Chapter 55 The Four Kings of Darkness are coming. Great wise people of ABO. Human will. Mebius is growing. In the endless void of the universe, as a dark star field collapsed, a dark steel battleship shuttled past. Wherever it passes, the galaxy is twisted and there are countless black holes. The beings in the universe just saw it from a distance and immediately fled away. Just because this battleship belongs to the Dark Universe Empire, it is a vanguard warship under the command of the great Emperor of the Dark Universe, Ampera. Inside the battleship, there was a dark and gray conference room, for cosmic beings with different appearances gathered together. It is the four Dark Kings. ABO people. Why are you here? That I saw people from another dimension, the ABO people, appearing here. Disrem, the cosmic planner, was the first to rebuke. The Yabo people sneered. Of course it's an invitation from His Majesty the Great Dark Emperor. Oh. What qualifications do you need to be invited? Desrem, the man who planned the universe, had evil eyes and his words were full of gunpowder. It took me tens of thousands of years to be able to sit on the position of the four kings of darkness. What qualifications does a newly arrived ABO man have? If you are not satisfied, you can complain to His Majesty the Emperor. Anyway. I, the Yabo man, am now one of the four kings of darkness. The Yabo people laughed coldly and launched a counterattack. You. Disrem was so angry that he wanted to rush out, but he was interrupted by a scolding sound. Okay. Don't engage in unnecessary verbal fights. The evil alien Mephiles spoke up to stop the conflict between the two. Seeing that it was Mephiles who spoke, Yabo and Desrem snorted coldly and were speechless for a moment. After all, the other party is extremely intelligent, equivalent to the role of mediator and de facto leader of the four Dark Kings. Frozen Star Grozum also burst into laughter at this time. If you two are fighting with each other over your abilities, why not think about how to invade the Earth? Don't forget. The vanguard of our invasion of the Earth, Impreza, was just destroyed by Taro and Mebius. As soon as these words came out, the Arbors and Desirem immediately fell silent. This is the fact. I thought I could easily take over the Earth with this, never expected to exceed expectations. The Mephiles star spoke out. His Majesty the Emperor has given us a 2-month deadline, we must complete the task. Otherwise. As he said that, the Mephiles star sneered a few times. The meaning is obvious, if you don't succeed, you will die. The four kings of darkness were silent, as if they were thinking about what to do. After all, no one can survive in the hands of His Majesty the Emperor. At this time, the Yabo people sneered. It's just an invasion of the Earth, leave it to me, the Yabo people. And, you see, halfway through his words, Yabo waved his hand and a virtual image appeared. Within the screen, an island appeared. Countless thorns and vines soared into the sky, their branches thick and shining like steel, blocking out the sky and the sun, covering the entire island, isolating it from the rest of the world. What's even more outrageous is, the thorns and vines that look like thick iron rods have exceeded the scope of the island, pierced into the coastal areas, and continue to expand, forcibly expanding the area of a narrow island several times. Yabo people, what do you mean? Disrem crossed his chest and sneered. The Yabo people sneered. Stupid guy, is this something that could appear on Earth? You. Disrem froze, trying to hold back his anger. the Mephila's star waved his hand to stop. Yabo people, go ahead. Let's see if there's anything there that can help us invade Earth. Jia Jia. The Yabo man smiled strangely and slowly disappeared from the conference room. Mephilas, Grozum, and human Emperor Shrem quietly waited for the news to come back. At the same time, inside the military base near Kuroshio Island, a rapid and sharp siren sounded, and the flashing red lights reflected in the iron corridor, along with the sound of footsteps. The order to gather urgently echoed. Quick, quick, quick. Guy's headquarters order, the highest level order. Chapter 53. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mobilize all forces to attack Kuroshio Island. As soon as the order was passed, all links started to operate precisely, coordinate and cooperate with each other. Warship weapons are loaded. Fighter planes are overhauled and ammunition is fully replenished. Reconnaissance planes have set off. Army, Navy, and Air Force, assemble. Set off immediately. Gig. The next moment, countless wartime forces drove out of the military base, under the order of the Supreme Commander, head towards Kuroshio Island. Inside the guy's base, Shingo Seiko stared at the screen on the monitor with a serious look. Everyone, must be fine. Yuki Misaki stepped forward to comfort. It's okay, there is a future, nothing will happen. But Shingo Seiko interrupted immediately. If there is really no problem, why did they send information back? Yuki Misaki was speechless. I don't know, who created the current Kuroshio Island? Can humans resist this? Shingo Hashimizu was confused, but even so, facing the unknown, he did not lose his confidence in the struggle. Human will. While the outside world was in turmoil, Kuroshio Island, however, ushered in a period of peace. No one started a duel here, causing the earth to collapse and the mountains to break. No one used it as an experimental site, causing a thorny ironwood forest to fall out of thin air. In a valley, the roar of humans was faintly heard. Ha! Hey! 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 A figure in a white training robe was attacking a tree stump. One punch and one kick caused the wind to whistle and rustle, but landing on the tree stump, it had no effect. How? How? How could this happen? This training is too difficult. I can't finish it. Too difficult. Mebius knelt down in pain, banging his head on the ground, tears streaming down. The guy's team members were also waiting here. Seeing this, everyone sighed helplessly. They couldn't remember how many times Mebius had collapsed. In the future. You must cheer up. Even the hot-blooded idiot Ehara Ryu, at this moment, he didn't dare to say anything more passionate. Chicken soup. After all, this training is really too difficult. The rest of the people are even more so. They have long been hopeless and have no hope. A mountain in the distance. Salon, Ace, and Leo, 3 people stood. They were quietly watching Mebius training. Salon was full of confusion, muttering, how could it be? Is it so difficult? Please give me flowers. Aside, Ace and Leo heard this, and their facial muscles twitched at the same time. They could only look helpless at Mebius, although they knew that Salon had been rebellious for a long time and wanted to seize the position of the old senior. But Ace and Leo were not mediocre people. They were frank and open, and each of them had a training project. They just wanted to prove it. What is the teaching experience of the old senior? The first level was naturally Salon, but an accident happened. Why? Why? Why can't I even kick a tree stump? Am I still an outstanding Ultraman of the younger generation? Mebius knelt on his knees, howled to the sky, and howled in pain. His heart was full of doubts about himself. Could it be that he was so weak that he couldn't even kick a tree stump? This sad voice made people tremble with fear. If you don't know, you might think it was a tragedy. Ace and Leo shook their heads helplessly. There is no way, Mebius, don't you see? Is this an ordinary tree stump? This is a tree stump. I wonder how much energy that bastard Sarron has poured into it. I'm afraid it will become a monster. With your mediocre skills, and in human form, it's a miracle that you can kick it to pieces. As for why Ace and Leo don't speak up to help explain. What a joke. Who would dare to go after Sarron's fierce look? Even in human form, he looks like the strongest creature on Earth. Not to mention flying and hiding, he is also capable of tearing apart wolves, tigers and leopards with his bare hands. Comparing himself again, two old seniors with old faces, seeing Mebius collapse like this, Ehara Ryu couldn't help but persuade him, "Future, why don't you give up? We can ask Leo or Ace." "No. Ryu." Mebius turned around suddenly, his eyes, which were covered with dark circles, exuded madness. Instantly, Ehara Ryu took 2 steps back in shock, and felt that he was going crazy. Hee. If I can't even complete Brother Salon's teachings, then how can I ask Brother Leo and Brother Ace for advice? I can do it. Mebius laughed strangely and rushed towards the tree stump step by step, continued to launch persistent attacks. Leo and Ace left the frightened guy's team members. They all vaguely felt, will Mebius turn evil? Seeing this, Leo and Ace's faces turned black, the bad feeling became stronger. Only Salon smiled with relief. Not bad, this is the future space gang. No, it's the future member of the Space Illuminati, the future second marshal of the Milky Way. At this moment, the Yabo people came to the Earth on a spaceship and quietly entered the Kuroshio Island. Walking in the ancient forest full of thorns and soaring into the air, feeling the extremely rich vitality in the vines, he couldn't help but sigh, which powerful life form created this masterpiece? P.S. Thank you at 13826. For the reward, please support me, readers. Sean, Chapter 56. The Yabo people beg for Salon's technology. The Hawks decide to attack. The Black and Mebius. It's really a terrible energy fluctuation. Chapter 54. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although it cannot be regarded as a completely independent individual, it seems that life has been born. Awesome, really awesome. The Yabo man, who had transformed into an old man in black robes, squatted down and touched the ground with his hands, can faintly feel the pulse of life. What a masterpiece! The Yabo people stood up and greedily absorbed the air around them. It seems like it wants to swallow everything up. If I, the Yabo people, could learn this life technology, the super beast created will be invincible in the world. Maybe, we shouldn't call it super beast. Should it be called the final beast? Thinking about it, the Yabo people couldn't help but laugh strangely and continued to move forward along the road. I want to see who created this island. Outside world, the human army has already assembled in the nearby waters, fighters, reconnaissance aircraft, transport aircraft, battleships, submarines, sea, land and air combat units. All forces blocked this sea area and set it as a closed area, not only to deal with unknown phenomena, but also to prove, human beings may also have the ability to save themselves. Have the courage to fight to the death in the unknown without relying on Ultraman's power. Inside the combat base. Speaker, Director of 297, look, the black fog on Kuroshio Island has dissipated. We can also send the signal inside. Misaki Yuki pulled up the latest image and enlarged the projection. The current appearance of Kuroshio Island is revealed. The island was completely different from the first, instantly shocking everyone present. This is a person who represents the highest power status of mankind. This is a phenomenon created by such great power. Incredible, definitely not something that human technology can achieve. Then, there are only space people. This judgment made everyone in the conference room feel chills on end. If the opponent directly sends monsters, do it with real swords and guns, the human forces are really not afraid. After all, the danger is known. But it is precisely this unknown enemy. It's easy to fill people's hearts with fear. No matter what kind of life form it is, unknown possession is the most terrifying thing. The opponent's strength is unknown, the opponent's potential is unknown, and the opponent's background is unknown. The unknown means endless possibilities. Either good or bad. But the innate tendency of human life to seek profit is to first define the unknown as a hazard. Just like, now. Attack. When the opponent doesn't react, attack with all your strength. Activate all firepower technologies and defeat the opponent instantly. A militant hawkish speaker slammed the table. Wait a minute, our guys members are still on the island, we must not attack recklessly. Shingo Gakamizu immediately stood up and retorted. The future of mankind is more important than the lives of several team members. Another hawk stood up, his eyes cold, and asked Shingo Osami. Misaki Yuki on the side was extremely anxious. She knew that once more forces were involved, disputes would arise. What's more important is that she can't announce that the future is Mebius, otherwise, the consequences are disastrous. So, Misaki Yuki tentatively asked, why? We can't wait for Ultraman Mebius. Shut up. Before he could finish his words, he was immediately interrupted by the hawkish speaker waving his hand. Ultraman is Ultraman after all, he can only be used, not relied on. The future of mankind must be in the hands of mankind. Another hawkish speaker added. In the name of the director of Gai's Japan branch, I refuse the orders of the two commanders. Shingo forced the water to refuse coldly, he must not let his companions' lives be abandoned innocently. Shingo, you. This is an area under the jurisdiction of the Japanese branch, and I have the right to make decisions. You. In an instant, the conference room fell into a stalemate. After a while, the two hawkish speakers sneered, you think we can't protect human safety? Ridiculous. After saying that, the two pushed the door open and walked out. Shingo Kuromizu was left sighing helplessly. He knew that he couldn't stop the other party, because most of the military forces assembled here were mobilized by the two hawkish speakers. And what I can mobilize? There is only a small defense team called Guys that specializes in dealing with unknown monster situations. Director, they set off. Misaki Snow looked extremely embarrassed. Bang. Shingo Shimizu slammed his fist on the table. Above the sea, countless fighter planes, reconnaissance planes, transport planes, battleships, they all turned around and refilled their ammunition, heading quickly to Kuroshio Island. Kuroshio Island, boom. A spaceman covered in solid armor soared into the sky, shaking the ground, equipped with a round shield, swords, chains and other weapons. It's the Redvalites who are coming with a vengeance. Ha ha ha, if there is no smell of that guy, then I'll be relieved. Mebius, I'm here to take your life. Ha 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 ha. The Revelite man laughed wildly, and his right arm turned into an iron sword, directly splitting the purple vines blocking the road. Clang. A crisp chime sounded, causing the iron sword to tremble violently. Hey, how is that possible? Why is this vine so strong? The people from Renflight were stunned. Turn around and look around. I was shocked to realize that the environment of Kuroshio Island had already undergone earth-shaking changes. This, what's going on? The red FLYT star was stunned on the spot. It was just a 2-day absence to take the opportunity to recover from the injury. I plan to make a comeback afterwards. As soon as the results come, everything has changed. Just when the red FLYT star was in a halo, a dark corner, Sarron, Ace, and Leo were watching everything quietly. It was obvious that he had deliberately concealed his aura in order to deceive the Redvalites into coming. Salon, is Mebius really okay? Ace asked worriedly. He saw with his own eyes the crazy Mebius. I was very worried. Instructor Ace, don't worry, don't you look at whose younger brother you are. Sarron waved his hand indifferently. With that said, Sarron continued, Instructor Ace, look, Instructor Leo is not panicked at all. Chapter 55. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Obviously you trust me very much. Yes, Instructor Leo. When he was mentioned, Leo looked stiff and nodded slightly without saying a word. In the past 2 days, he was a little sore from being slapped in the face. I don't dare to find fault with Sarron for the time being, and the result this time has not come out. How dare we add insult to injury? Does the old man eat arsenic and live impatiently? Ace on the side saw Leo, who looked completely different from before, low, cold, gloomy and lonely, really like an old and lonely lion. Immediately a feeling of guilt came over me. I have some doubts about whether it was the right choice to hand over Sarron to Leo. it's since the two of them came into contact, Leo has become so vicissitudes of life. Thinking of this, Ace felt even more uncomfortable in his heart. I'm sorry. My dear brother Leo, I don't want you, brother Ace, either, but there's nothing I can do about it. What you have lost is eternal happiness, but what I, your brother Ace, have lost is my dignity. At this time, Sarron suddenly smiled happily. Look, isn't Membius here? Ace and Leo looked sideways, his eyes were stunned for a moment. Is this still Membius? At this moment, Membius was seen walking slowly on the grass in his human form, a change from his former kind and gentle appearance. Now, his face is stern and his eyes are flashing with madness. The thick dark circles under the eyes give people a somewhat cold feeling. Every step he took was extremely heavy, as if full of terrifying power. Waves of pressure hit my face. In addition, his current training robe is in tatters and stained black by mud. It really gives people a darkened feeling. Membius. Ace's pupils flashed with pain, and he couldn't bear to look any further. What a good boy, he was tortured to look like this. Leo could only sigh. It seems like I have witnessed the vicissitudes of the world. Coincidentally, the two of them looked at the initiator of the incident at the same time, Demon Sarron. Different from the two, Sarron was extremely excited. Have you finally developed it? My second martial. 4.1 The other side, the red FLYT star was angry that his iron sword could not even chop down a vine. Immediately he shouted loudly, Membius. You piece of trash, get out of here quickly. In anger, the Revelite people just wanted to kill someone to vent their anger. No one showed up for a long time. The Reflay alien started to get mad and prepared to search everywhere. At this time, it echoed like a whisper from hell. You're looking for me. Star Renfret heard this and left. I saw Membius, who was still in human form, coming slowly. He was unhurried and exuded an aura of deathly silence. It's like an evil ghost crawling back from hell. You're pretty good at pretending. The Reflay star sneered and taunted. The next moment, without any hesitation, he chopped down the iron sword directly. Boom! The ground shook, roared violently, swayed, and kicked up a storm of smoke, but, that's all. Your attack is nothing more than that. Under the iron sword, a cold and indifferent voice came out. Then, P.S., thank you for your support. Chapter 57, Membius, what a dark guy, I am a sunny boy. Sarron, how dare you interrupt my transformation? In the shocked eyes of the red FLYT star, a dazzling red light flashed, and a red palm rushed out. Bang! Caught off guard, the red FLYT star was hit in the eye. Ah! You don't have martial ethics. Holding back the pain of being poked in the eye, the Revelite man continued to retreat for dozens of meters. The iron sword in his hand was swung at will to block Membius' attack, but not even a few steps out, another heavy blow from behind. Bang! After staggering for a few steps, the red FLYT star hit the ground hard, causing dust to fill the sky. Membius! A roar came out. I didn't even see the figure clearly, so I was so deflated for no reason. The red FLYTs are going crazy. But Membius doesn't care so much. He moved his step slightly, his eyes stern, looking for loopholes in his opponent. The next moment, an obvious loophole appears. No hesitation, Membius touched the knight's aura worn on his left wrist, integrating it with Membius's aura. The chest is quickly outlined with golden lines, evolving into a brave form. With a flick of his right arm, the Membim knight's lightsaber stretched out. Aha! The lightsaber was sharp and ruthless, and it stabbed at the Reflay star who hadn't even gotten up yet. Membius! Damn you! Where did it get stabbed? The Revelite was completely crazy, and rolled to the side with his hands to block. The intense pain surged into his heart. Seeing this, Membius laughed eerily. Sure enough, your defense is not all round and has no dead angles. Let me see. Where else? As he said, Membius swung his lightsaber and stabbed at the lower 17 three ways. On the other hand, the Revelite was completely confused. He knew that he was very arrogant, mean and hypocritical, and would win by any means, but he wouldn't be so dark in his mind. The battle situation of Membius oppressing the Revelite appeared instantly. Mountains in the distance. Coincidentally, Salon, Ace, Leo, the three of them were petrified at the same time. Is this still the sunny boy with a gentle personality and kind to others? How the hell, he became the dark-minded old six. Chapter 56. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This, it's terrible. Subconsciously, Ace and Leo glanced aside with angry eyes, the instigator of that incident, Sarron. Sarron coughed twice and glanced around. I secretly tried to persuade myself, mixed society, if he was really so kind, I'd probably die countless times. Well, Membius, you can definitely become a great person. The position of Second Marshal of the Cosmic Illuminati is given to you. As for the guy's team members, they were also turned to stone, their eyes blank, and their mouths dumbfounded. Future, you have changed. In just 2 days, is this the result of your training? This, the future, forget it, it'll be good if you can win. Seeing Membius's fighting style, several people sighed, but seeing that it works, I have nothing to say. After all, fighting monsters, as long as it is effective, it is all to protect the peace of the earth. Well, that's it. Only Rio was so ashamed that he squatted on the ground and covered his face, unwilling to look. How could he, a hot-blooded idiot, and the partner he had built a bond with, turn into a dark old man? Blank. Membius, I don't want to pretend anymore. Renfret was furious. Round shields, swords, chains and other weapons were all produced. How can I pretend to be a gentleman when I meet this kind of old Ultraman? The one who dies is himself. The next moment, a huge meteor hammer was swung out. Boom. It spun faster and faster, spinning around the entire body of the Rev Elite, forming a defense without blind spots. Ha ha ha, come here, Membius. What the hell, come here. The Rev Elite swung the meteor hammer with one hand and extended his middle finger with the other hand to provoke. Moreover, he kept rushing towards Membius. See this? Everyone felt troubled. The meteor hammer swung at high speed formed an effective defense network. Can block all fighting attacks. At the same time, the body surface of the red FLYTS is covered with special metal armor formed through the interaction of light particles and soft metal cells. It has the property of not absorbing light at all, and all destructive light cannot have any effect on it. It can even reflect back the damaging light from the enemy. This is the greatest defense of the red FLYTS. In the first battle, Membius suffered a loss and was unable to crack it. Therefore, the current situation is that whether it is long-range emission of light or melee combat, these are all things that are impossible to achieve. Everyone was sweating for Membius. There was no way to solve it. Ace and Leo were lost in thought. What would they do if they encountered this kind of tactics? One of them is good at light skills, and the other is good at fighting skills. They happen to be restrained respectively. If you are facing an enemy with the same strength, it will be really difficult to deal with it. Thinking about it, he looked at Sarron, who had a calm expression on his face. Ace couldn't help but test out, Sarron, what if you met the Renflight? In the face of a situation where both light skills and fighting skills are difficult to be effective. How will you defeat the Redvalites? Sarron was silent for a moment. Ace and Leo felt inexplicably relieved when they saw this. Right. Yes. Just this look, this familiar look, finally let your boy feel the pain we suffered. That is the feeling of being helpless and being slapped in the face with self-questioning. Sarron frowned and murmured. Yes, this Renfret star is really a formidable opponent. I also took it very seriously. Upon hearing this for the first time, Ace and Leo breathed a sigh of relief. After all, this was the first time I saw Sarron speaking softly, but in the next moment, the two people's expressions immediately froze. If you're not careful, use Ultra Guillotine or Cosmic Beast Fist to kill the Reflay alien instantly. That's really boring. Alas! A faint sigh echoed. Ace and Leo were angry and clenched their fists tightly. Sarron, what the hell? Let's start Versailles again and start pretending. You kid can do a lot of tricks with Ultra Guillotine. That's awesome, isn't it? Your boy can use the Cosmic Beast Fist which has inherited secrets. It's awesome, isn't it? The two people's mentality exploded. Oh, Ini, oh, really awesome, really envious, it seems so. At this time, Sarron sighed again. Alas. The joy of genius. It's so plain and simple, and boring. Ace, Leo. This boy, the dog is a real dog. The next moment, Membius moved, and his actions shocked everyone's eyes. Come on. Mebius, don't you want to play dirty? See who's afraid of who. The Revelite laughed wildly and approached Mebius, but Mebius just took a few steps back, turned into light particles, and dissipated on the spot. Instantly, the Revelite was stunned and stood still. You are the fucking one. Mebius. You coward. The Revelite was furious again. He didn't expect that the current Mebius could no longer be guessed by common sense. It's only been 2 days. How could such a big change happen? Boom. 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 In anger, the Revelite swung the meteor hammer and smashed it everywhere, causing smoke and a mess, but Mebius still didn't appear. Mebius. Wait. I will definitely kill you. The Revelite turned around angrily and prepared to leave. However, just at this moment, a ball of red flame suddenly appeared in the sky, turning into a dazzling ball of light, rushing towards the Revelite. A fierce collision. Violent sparks flew everywhere, falling on the ground, melting into a huge pit. Ah! With a scream, the Revelite fell heavily to the ground, shaking violently, and the earth shook. Taking advantage of this moment, the dazzling ball of light turned into a human form. Chapter 57. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It is Mebius who has returned. At this moment, a fire symbol appears on Membius's chest, and he has transformed into the form of a burning hero. His whole body was ignited with blazing fire, and he launched a hurricane-like attack on the fallen Renfret. Bang 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 297. The burning flames came down with a heavy fist, aiming at the vital points. Within a few punches, there were obvious dents. Obviously, the defense of the red FLYTS is not absolute, and it still exists to a certain extent, especially some vital parts. Mebius. Ah! A series of sharp screams sounded, and the people from the red flats were going crazy. At this moment, he was pressed to the ground and rubbed hard. There was no resistance at all. Moreover, Mebius, the sixth one, specializes in attacking weakly defended places. What eyes, neck, joints. What's even more exaggerated is that the Revelite people suddenly felt, Mebius, the old man, is locking himself tightly. Fuck, Membius, what the hell do you want to do? Like a little girl who was about to be persecuted, the Revelite screamed, but Mebius smiled coldly. Membim bursts. Flames burst out all over the body, the temperature increased sharply, like a blazing fireball, exuding a terrifying and dangerous aura. 0016711055. No. No, the people from the Revelite were anxious and completely panicked. He doesn't want to die here, and he was tricked to death by an old Ultraman. Thoughts, all the strength in his body began to explode, and he started wrestling with Membius. One person wants to be locked tightly, and the other person wants to get rid of the bondage. The two sides fight and reach a stalemate. At the critical moment, the red FLYTS completely showed their crazy attitude. Even if you die, I will let you live with pain. The words fell, a meteor hammer chain was thrown away. Direction. Surprisingly, it was the guy's members who had been watching from the sidelines. The crisis comes suddenly, too fast for people to react. Mebius was stunned, but he had no time to rescue him, so he could only watch everything happen. At this time, the bamboo hat was thrown away, revealing Leo's lion-like face, and he waved his fists. The lion ring sparkles. Thunder. Leo hasn't finished speaking about his transformation yet. The transformation was immediately interrupted by the power of Sarron's transformation. What the hell, Sarron, Chapter 58 Dragon Fist. Sarron, the bully of the Kingdom of Light. Leo wants to become Sarron's disciple. The rebellious Membius. Boom. As the earth shook, countless cracks appeared. Sarron has turned into a dark blue light ball and flew out. Ace and Leo were left in a messy land, taking deep breaths and suppressing the helplessness in their hearts. There is no way, what can they say? I can't find a reason to find fault. Even if I find it, won't my face still hurt? So I can only swallow my anger. At this moment, they silently gave Sarron a new title, Bully of the Kingdom of Light. At this time, the meteor hammer of the Rev Elite was about to hit the guy's members. Aha! The meteor hammer, which was bigger than the top of the mountain, pierced the air, making a hunting sound, and the air roared. It was extremely powerful. In an instant, several people were so shocked that their faces turned pale, and they had to raise their hands to cover themselves, preparing to wait for death. After all, human power is too insignificant in the face of absolutely crushing power. Just at the moment of despair, a deep blue light suddenly appeared, blocking the front. Boom! With the roar of heavy hammers and explosions, it seemed as if the world was shaken. After counting the interest, the guy's team members were awakened by the dazzling blue color and slowly lowered their hands. Immediately you see a shocking scene. Sarron, who is tall and burly, is holding his fists on his waist and straightening his back. The bulging chest of muscles blocked the deadly meteor hammer from the red flyts. Sarron, Ultraman Sarron. He saved us. Oh my god, it turns out that he also cares about the life and death of us humans. It's too strong. He actually used his body to hit the meteor hammer. What a terrible thing. Several members of the guy's team were dumbfounded and stared blankly in front of them. This extremely tall dark blue giant with a black dragon shadow tattooed on it. Sarron slowly turned his head and conveyed a human voice, "Humans, get out of here." After saying that, without waiting for the guy's team members to react, they turned into dark blue light and shadow and rushed out. Several people looked at each other in silence. As for Kazama Shina and Amaya Kiyomi, whose eyes are full of little stars, he immediately woke up and hurriedly reminded everyone to leave quickly. Just treat it as a burden once. Other side, seeing that the meteor hammer attack was ineffective, the Rev Elite people were stunned, but what's even more confusing is, saw Sarron appear. Damn it, why is this evil star here? The fear in his heart continued to rise, filling the brain of the Rev Elite Starman in an instant. The strong breath of death swept over, and his forehead was in pain. The scenes of being beaten up before suddenly came to his mind. In addition to the fear, he saw two figures with gloomy eyes standing on a mess of ruins, Ultraman Ace. Ultraman Leo. Damn, why are they all here? The Rev Elite Starman's mentality exploded, and he wanted to die instantly, for Ultramen. Who the hell can beat them? At this time, the cold voice echoed in his ears. What are you screaming about, Rev Elite Starman, aren't you good at fighting? That the flames on Mebius' body burned more vigorously. It's like a time bomb. Ah! I don't want to die. The fear of death completely filled his heart, and the Rev Elite Starman was like crazy, bursting with strength all over his body. He actually broke free from Mebius's restraints in an instant, then he flew to the distant sky without looking back, and he didn't forget to leave a cruel word. Ultraman. I, Rev Elite, will definitely come back. Before he finished speaking, his figure had instantly gone 1,000 meters away. Just when everyone could only helplessly watch Rev Elite escape, but a cold, and indifferent voice sounded, like the thunder of the sky. Die! That everyone looked back and realized that it was Sarron who was going to take action. I saw that Sarron, who was originally in a deep blue halo, showed his figure, deep blue body, cold eyes, dragon patterns all over, perfect muscle bulge, gives people an unparalleled sense of oppression. At this moment, Sarron was clenching his right fist tightly, his explosive muscles tensed, as if there was an endless flow of power. Chapter 58. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Accompanied by the sprint, the energy timer lamp suddenly emitted a thick black mist, as deep as ink, and could not be stained. The black mist whistled and gathered, condensing into a black dragon pattern. Soon, a lifelike black dragon with dragon scales opened its fangs and swirled out. Then, roar, roar, roar. A punch was thrown, and the dark black dragon roared, making a deafening roar that went straight through the sky, chasing after the Rev Elite. What is this? Feeling the crisis coming, the Rev Elite turned around in panic. The pupils reflected a black shadow. Before he could react, he was pierced through the chest by the terrifying black dragon that was coming with its fangs and claws. In an instant, the whole person exploded in mid-air. Seeing this scene, everyone was numb. Is this a normal punch attack? Ultraman Sarron is too powerful, a serious punch can kill the Revelite star in seconds. Sense of security, do you understand? This is the sense of security that a real man should have. Yes, yes, only those who reach Sarron's standards are real men. The guy's team hid under the dense shade of trees and couldn't help shaking their heads in amazement, although they didn't know how the strength between Ultramen was divided, who was stronger than who, etc. But, they were sure. In terms of the violence and decisiveness of the battle, as well as the sense of security it brought to humans, Sarron is definitely the best. And Ace, Leo, and Mebius were also thinking differently. Ace just felt numb, he was used to whatever tricks Sarron played, the only concern was that he was worried that he couldn't complete Zophi's mission. Mebius was different, silently suppressed the rebellious bone behind his head, although Sarron was forced to become the sixth Dark Man, no, he was a sunny boy. But he could not beat him, so he could only continue to live. Only Leo felt mixed emotions, one word, envy. Two words, really envious. Is this the inheritance secret of the cosmic fantasy beast fist? He casually punched a dragon fist. When Leo thought of his half of the cosmic fantasy beast fist, he was depressed, just when everyone was thinking about different things, but no one noticed. The ferocious black dragon punched by the dragon fist has not dissipated yet, with terrifying power, it is still flying away, and a faint and inaudible sharp scream sounded in the thorny vine forest. On Kuroshio Island, the Yabo people walked in the dense vine forest, and the more they looked, the more they were amazed. They kept sighing about how much power it took to create this product. The extremely abundant vitality can force a weak vine plant to the current life level. It is really outrageous, you know, the super beast synthesis technology he mastered, although it can also create powerful life forms. It is only a technology after all, relying on the mixture of a large number of monsters. The super beasts created are full of the taste of inferior synthesis. There is no feeling of a natural master at all. More importantly, the super beasts made by the super beast synthesis technology are nothing more than fighting machines, lack of soul, lack of life, not an outstanding work at all. And on this Kuroshio Island, the Yabo people saw a miracle. The natural life form is definitely the work of a master. Thinking about it, the Yabo people couldn't help but murmured. If I can master this ability, I am willing to be his dog. After saying the harsh words, the Yabo people didn't feel any shame, just pursuing the truth of life. Suddenly, a strong Ultraman aura came from the front. The Yabo people's face suddenly turned pale, and they gritted their teeth and said, "Damn Ultraman. Do they also want to obtain this kind of power?" Anxious, the Yabo people quickened their pace and pushed away the blinding vines. Looking from 1,000 meters away, I saw Salon punching violently. Immediately, a roaring black dragon shadow smashed the Revelite star on the spot. Then, it was roaring and killing at me. Fuck. Ultraman, you are dogs. I haven't appeared yet. The lifelike black dragon shuttled through, and countless vines and ancient forests were broken, and the Yabo people suffered the aftermath, and a huge explosion occurred on the spot, and they were smashed to pieces. The Yabo people, suddenly. Outside Kuroshio Island, the human army is advancing with great momentum. The warships with several huge cannons pushed aside the waves and advanced mightily. The dark gun barrels emitted a faint light, and the breath of death gradually spread. Countless fighter planes in the sky roared through the clouds. Their ammunition had already been loaded, and their gun holes were aimed at Kuroshio Island. In an instant, a small Kuroshio Island was surrounded by water. Looking from the sky, the dark group of warships and dragonflies was larger than the area of Kuroshio Island. Command office, the two hawkish speakers were watching everything coldly. The technicians beside them were doing a 5-second countdown. When the time is up, it is time to concentrate firepower to attack Kuroshio Island. 5, 4, 3, 2. However, just as the last second was about to be read out, a thunderous dragon roar sounded. The terrifying sound waves spread like waves. Before I thought about it, the entire command room started to shake violently, the power lights all went out, and the red lights flashed wildly, reflecting on everyone's faces, alternating between red and white. Countless warnings sounded, extremely harsh. Speaker, speaker. All signals are cut off. Slave. It is impossible to contact the combat troops. Anxious voices echoed in the command room, the two hawkish speakers' legs softened and they sat down decadently on the ground. Their eyes were blank, just because they saw the picture sent back from the display screen, Chapter 59 The Future of Mankind. Ace, the winner of the Nonsense Literature Award. Leo comprehended the highest mystery of the fantasy beast. Originally on the calm sea, the warships that were ready to go had already aimed their shells at Kuroshio Island, fighters roared and whizzed past in the sky, and the black bullet mouth exuded a breath of death. All combat personnel were quietly waiting for the countdown from the command center, but suddenly, a strong wind blew up, causing a tsunami to surge and cover the sea with a shadow. Not long after, a loud dragon roar sounded, approaching the army in the form of sound waves. Chapter 59. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Instantly, the dark dragon's shadow suddenly passed through the clouds, raising layers of rolling air waves. Once affected, countless fighter planes immediately broke their wings and the operating system failed. They turned into meteors and fell on the sea, emitting huge fireworks. At the same time, warships, submarines and other sea combat equipment flashed a lot of sparks on the spot, and countless thick black smoke rose into the sky. It was just a moment, the armed forces from humans were instantly paralyzed and lost their combat power. And the enemy did not even show a single figure. This scene was quickly spread through the communicator. At the guy's team base, seeing this, the anxiously waiting Sakumami Shingo felt mixed emotions. There was fear of unknown life forms and worry about his companions. The strongest emotion was, realizing that human power is still not enough to fight against cosmic life. The message spread quickly. Moreover, the military did not make any cover-up for this operation, which can be said to be widely publicized. The Hawks not only want to use this to enhance human confidence, they want to force all humans to change their minds. Humans have the power to deal with the unknown. In addition, they want to take the opportunity to change the attitude of other high-level officials towards Ultraman. They think that Ultraman should be used as an object of use, and can be used to study and replicate, and even surpass. As for whether it will hurt the relationship between Ultraman and humans 297, this is not what they care about. But they never thought, it was this unconcealed behavior, immediately let the vast number of human citizens who were interested in watching, see everything in their eyes, instantly caused countless panic and calls for Ultraman. After all, Ultraman from the land of light is the pure and harmless protector of mankind. Seeing that the situation is becoming more and more intense, the world government immediately intervened. All public opinions were forcibly blocked, and Kuroshio Island was named the #1 unknown forbidden zone. And the life form that caused the strange phenomenon on Kuroshio Island was called #1 unknown life form. In a short period of time, the world situation has evolved many times, and the instigator of the incident was watching Mebius and Guy's team members leave Kuroshio Island. Instructor Ace, why don't you let Mebius train for a few more days? Wouldn't it be good to let you and Instructor Leo give Mebius some more guidance? Looking at the fighter plane that was slowly taking off, Salon suddenly asked. Well, this is a long story. Let's talk about this training. Then what about training? We are just saying, it's equal to training. Then, training, what are we talking about? It's training, and what is training? Yeah, the next step is you Salon, me Ace, and him Leo. Ace's mouth twitched, and he began to lie with his eyes open, acting like a nonsense writer. Every word and sentence was about the theme of training, but no words were about training. After hearing all these words, Sarron was dizzy and frantically tried to grasp the key information. But, damn, I couldn't find it at all. Ace laughed in his heart when he saw this, feeling as if he had found a magic weapon to defeat the enemy. Sarron, you didn't expect it. Your instructor Ace, I have learned to defeat magic with magic. You are always good at pretending, right? Then I will use nonsense literature attack. As long as you don't understand, you can't find any point to pretend. After listening to more than 10 minutes of nonsense, Sarron also realized what Ace was doing. I couldn't help but roll my eyes. Ace, you old man, you are playing this trick on me, chow. Since I can't break the nonsense magic, I will use the transfer attack. Ahem. Well, Instructor Ace, what you said makes sense. But, by the way, where is Instructor Leo? Why hasn't he come back after so much time? Sarron asked with a smile. Ace answered casually. After escorting Mebius and the others out of the island, Leo returned to the Kingdom of Light. Sarron couldn't help but wonder, why? He hasn't even taught me the ultimate secret of the cosmic beast fist. Ace's face froze. Sarron looked strange and continued to ask. Instructor Ace, don't tell me that my instructor Leo has practiced the cosmic beast fist for thousands of years. Hasn't he mastered it yet? Ace couldn't hold it back after saying this. He immediately waved his hand and scolded. What are you talking about, kid? Leo has practiced the universe fantasy beast fist for so many years, and he has already reached the realm of perfection. Didn't you notice? Even the beast pattern on his body has disappeared. This is the highest secret. Ace looked like a man who was disappointed with his son, and spoke confidently, but in his heart, he was secretly weak. I'm sorry, dear brother Leo, your brother Ace, I didn't tell the truth, I am guilty. But I absolutely cannot see anyone questioning you. Before leaving Kuroshio Island, Leo had a conversation with Ace using Ultra Thoughts. The topic was the Universe Beast Fist. Leo was upset by Sarron's 3 consecutive Universe Beast Fists. Beb, what Black Dragon pattern, what Night Kai, what Dragon Fist, everything was stimulating Leo. The key is that Sarron was still respectful and polite, thinking about learning a better Universe Beast Fist from Leo. He wanted to too. But, he didn't learn it all. Even the inherited beast pattern didn't appear. What the hell is he teaching? Leo, who immediately collapsed, rushed back to the Kingdom of Light to retreat, swearing to practice the Universe Beast Fist. And in the end, Leo also repeatedly told Ace, if Sarron had already discovered that he hadn't practiced the entire Universe Beast Fist, and asked out loud. Don't hide anything, tell the truth. Otherwise, I will feel guilty. After all, as a lone lion, I absolutely cannot lie or hide anything like this. But at this moment, with just a few words from Ace, everything changed, and Salon was even more shocked when he heard it. Suddenly, I felt that what Ace said made sense. Isn't the highest realm of martial arts to forget everything? The Cosmic Beast Fist is also a kind of martial arts, logically speaking, shouldn't it be like this? In addition, Leo looks very decent, and he looks like a serious person. It's even more impossible to be fake. How is it? Sarron, don't be proud and complacent. We Ultra Warriors must always keep a humble heart. Also, do you really think you have practiced your light skills to the limit? As he said that, Ace suddenly changed his words and talked about light. Look, you only practiced attack and healing light skills well. What about the others? Chapter 60. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What about defense against light skills? How about controlling light? Have you really learned it all? Not necessarily, Ace said, shaking his head, and then patted Sarron heavily on the shoulder, putting on the posture of an inscrutable old-timer. Sarron, on the other hand, fell into deep thought. Other side, Guy's team and others have quickly flown away from Kuroshio Island in fighter planes. In just a few days, it was simply a dream. Not only did we see 4 Ultra Warriors in one go, but we also saw a shocking battle. And the miracle of Kuroshio Island changing with just a wave of his hand. Ha ha ha, although it's dangerous, it's quite fun. Ehara Ryu flew the fighter plane and smiled. The others laughed. Yes, Dragon, you almost had your head split open by Sarron. Ikaruga George couldn't help but tease. That's enough, you guys. Ehara Ryu's face suddenly became embarrassed. After all this time, I can still vaguely recall that scalp-numbing scene. Ha ha ha. Everyone laughed when they heard the sound, but there was one person who laughed secretly and strangely twice, which immediately made everyone sweat on their backs. go down together without making an appointment. Everyone quietly looked back. There, in the human body that Mebius transformed into, Mirai is smiling grimly, unspeakable horror, it's so permeable that it's indescribable. Q's Jihei said worriedly, the future. Ah. Jiping, what's wrong? Mebius was startled when he heard this, and immediately showed a bright smile. If outsiders saw him, he would definitely be a sunny boy, but how many people in the fighter plane? But he knows it well, Mebius, equals smiley face, not everyone. At this time, Jinnah suddenly exclaimed and pointed out the window of the fighter plane. He shouted incredulously, look. What is this? Everyone poked their heads out to take a look. I was instantly shocked by the scene on the sea outside Kuroshio Island. P.S. Please support. Guarantee of more than 10,000 words per day, Chapter 60 Crazy Expanding Influence. The Dark Emperor takes action. Ace, we should pay attention to the impact when we appear. The sea was still blue when we arrived, but now it has changed drastically. Countless ironclad fighter planes loomed half-surface on the water, emitting thick black smoke and turning the sky black. A large number of warships were stranded, and the red signal lights indicating emergency failures kept flashing. The sky shrouded in black smoke adds a touch of red. At the same time, there are still a large number of black dots moving in the sea. Take a closer look. Only to find a military personnel wearing combat uniforms. Their faces were all pale and bloodless. He just swam towards the nearest battleship with a frightened face. Faintly, bursts of yelling and low cursing could be heard. Those two damn old men insisted on attacking Kuroshio Island with great fanfare. How about they get better now? Does your face hurt? Oh, fortunately, I just suffered a warning from the life form of Kuroshio Island. We should only have a few scars, otherwise. We all must die. All fighter planes, warships, combat troops, thousands of them must die. I told you a long time ago, don't adopt an extreme attitude towards the enemy. Fortunately, the Kuroshio Island lifeforms did not continue to attack. The people who had narrowly escaped death made dissatisfied sounds. Blind and unprovoked war will only lead to greater crises. And precisely, this is what hawks love to do. You must know that among the life forms in the universe, there are still many cosmic beings who have a peaceful attitude towards the earth. But even Ultraman, who loves humans the most, they have suffered a lot of betrayal. For example, Sarron, Dinah, and Nexus. If it weren't for the fact that most Ultraman adhere to, the passionate heart cannot be annihilated, even if this feeling has been betrayed thousands of times. Otherwise, there would be no Ultra Warriors from the Kingdom of Light who are still fighting for the Earth. What happened in the sea area was all reflected in the eyes of the guy's team, causing bursts of silence. Did something happen? Why are so many forces gathered in the waters of Kuroshio Island? Yes, and they were all destroyed. Is there a powerful monster out there? Use the military to use force to fight back. No, isn't the monster on Kuroshio Island? But what's going on? For a moment, several people in the fighter plane were confused. After just 2 days on Kuroshio Island, the outside world has undergone earth-shaking changes. It's outrageous. Or is it possible that, is there a world war? This is impossible. The world today has reached an agreement to jointly fight against alien life forms as the bottom line. At this time, Mebius was the only one who looked at the surrounding sea suspiciously, vaguely. He felt the energy particles remaining in the air here, very familiar. At this time, the communication device inside the fighter plane rang, then a connection signal came in. The signal source showed that it was the guy's team base. Without hesitation, Ihara Ryo connected, but there was a continuous stream of inquiries and scoldings from the other end of the conversation. Dragon. Where have you all gone? Why haven't you contacted the base in the past few days? Did you encounter a powerful life form on Kuroshio Island that you cannot easily deal with even in the future? Long. Why don't you say anything? Is everyone okay? Continuous words were shot out like a machine gun. Harurio was stunned for a moment, turned around and glanced around, then said weakly, "Captain, we are all fine." Previously, it was because the communication equipment was broken, so we couldn't get in touch with the base. Kuroshio Island life form. Well, that's right. Ehara Ryu's voice became lower and lower, and he gradually lost his confidence. See how anxious Shingo is. He didn't dare to admit that it was quite interesting for him and the others to spend time on Kuroshio Island. Q's Tepe, Ikaruga George, Kazama Marina, and Amaya Kiyomi all huddled in their positions, not daring to make a sound. I was afraid that I would be forced to catch Schwarzengo and give me a scolding. You guys really don't know what's going on in the outside world. Originally, under the compulsory request of the hawkish speaker, the military preparedness has been prepared to launch an attack on Kuroshio Island. But at the last moment, a terrifying energy fluctuation suddenly came from Kuroshio Island. In an instant, all the ordnance and equipment were disturbed and destroyed. There are still images coming back. I think it was caused by a black dragon shadow passing by. Shingo Ashui's voice came out continuously from the dialogue meter, and he looked very serious. Several people in the fighter plane were stunned when they heard the sound. They looked at each other, their eyes widened, as if they had seen a ghost. Several people realized, the one who caused chaos in the sea before his eyes and the destruction of all human armed forces, most likely it is